The disappointment of Monday, and since then Harry Maguire's got an additional ban. What was your reaction to that, and what was his reaction to it?
To be honest, there's not much we can react to. Massively disappointed, of course. I think had a few reasons to be disappointed in a big way over them type of situations over the last couple of weeks or 3 weeks. But we obviously now we've got to move on. You know, the decisions to be made, something that we're really disappointed with in many ways. But that's it now. We've got to move on, and we will do.
With Lissandro, there was talk of an appeal over that decision. Did that go in, and have you heard anything back?
Yeah, I think we're obviously disappointed. We didn't agree with it. I think I was pretty obvious how I felt after the game, and I still feel that way. So, yeah, listen, I don't want to go into it now. I think it is what it is. You know, we've been hit with some decisions, and at the end of the day, now we've just got to accept it and move on, whether we like them or not.
He's not going to be available. There's no chance he can play tomorrow.
And Michael, just touching on team news, is Cobby mainly back in training, and are you expecting anyone else like Patrick Dolgu? Is he back with team training yet?
Patrick's not. No, Patrick's he's going well. He's rehabbing well. He's kind of on track, but he's not with us in terms of training yet. But he's back on the pitch, as I've already said. So that's positive, and he's doing really well. Cobby a little bit. Yeah, we're working towards it. He's done a little bit, so there's a decision to be made there.
Just wanted to ask you about Aiden Heaven as well, Michael. He's probably the most logical person to come into the team, whether you do or not. Just wonder, you had a run of games before you returned to the club, starting. Not seen all that much of him since. Just wonder what you think he maybe needs to do to really contest for those starting positions, and where you want to see him develop in the future.
I think Aiden's in a good place. Well, I know he's in a good place. He's obviously still young, and he's progressing through the early stage of his career, really. So I think it's pretty natural for him to play some games and maybe not some others. He's training really well. He's learning. He's listening. He wants to improve. So I think it's pretty natural of a centre half of his age to. He's probably well ahead of schedule in terms of the games that he's played. So. Yeah, he's trained well. I've got no worries. He went away and played with England a couple of weeks ago and done well. So yeah, he's looking forward to the game for sure.
Yeah, Michael, obviously, absolutely huge game against Chelsea, being a rival for the Champions League places. The record at Stamford Bridge has not been great down the years either. I guess that doesn't count for much. So heading into Saturday, it's an absolutely crucial match, isn't it? Whichever way you look at it. Yeah,
it's an important game. You know, we're in a good position in the league, and we want to keep building on that. It's a tough place to go, always has done. We've always had tough games down there. Most of the time they've been good games in terms of the what it brings, the feeling of a real proper game. So we'll be ready for that. You know, we're prepared well, and as I said, we take the confidence from what we've built. You know, yeah, we didn't get the result we wanted against Leeds on Monday, but certainly the way they finished the game and the character we showed, and we got to take that into this game with an extra player and make the most of it.
I know you've got a decision to make at centre back, and there's different options for you, but just longer term, Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven, could that be the future of Manchester United's backline?
Yeah, well, in terms of predicting the future, I think it's you could be careful what you try and predict, but certainly we're delighted to have both of them, and the age that they're at to have played in the Premier League for such a big club is not always the case. I think it's a position that to be in the team at a young age at a big club it's not always easy. It's not always straightforward. So for the two boys to have played that, they have different amounts at different times, but I think the experience and the level and the stage that they're at now, they're at a really good stage, and the future is the future. They need to keep progressing, and we'll give them the opportunity to do that, whether that's through training off the pitch and the coaching side and the help and the advice, and certainly the game time as well. So I think they're both in a really good place at the moment. It's probably as well as you can hope for centre backs at the age that they're at.
Thank you.
Michael, I realise analysis of situations is shaped by results, but there's been a lot of talk about substitutions in the wake of Monday. What is the thought process? Because a lot of people thought maybe there should have been a change at half-time or earlier or more. What is the thought process?
There's always people that think some other things, Simon. there's always other opinions. There's a lot comes into substitutions. I think we've had good impact off the bench, really, when you look back over the time we've been here, and in different ways, players coming on scoring goals. So don't look into it too much. I think we obviously analyse what we take from each game, but in terms of the number of subs and when they're made and comparing it to other teams, it's kind of irrelevant, really. It's results, and generally we've had good results.
And you mentioned a couple of times about Mason Mount. It seemed when Ruben was here that there was a kind of slot for him. It doesn't seem quite as obvious in the formation you play. Where do you think he can be most effective?
There's definitely a place for him, without doubt. He's obviously working to getting fit and finding that. And the other night I thought we actually finished the game to a point where we were having some chances as well. So it was did we change it, did we not? There's obviously a decision to be made there, but Mason's got a good future here, so I really don't.
Yeah, I don't ever tell you the starting 11. Crazy to say what the starting 11 will be 2 days before a very big game. Enzo's been training with the group. He's been training very, very well, and it's just business as usual in terms of the selection for the game. We have to take advantage of this moment. We're running out of time. We need to show that initiative on Saturday evening, and we need to play on the front foot, and we need to make up those points, which is still definitely possible.
Oh, another big game. A game that perhaps in your time would have been a league decider, maybe? Very different now, both chasing Champions League. Let's get your opinion and your verdict on Chelsea.
Oh man, it's a team that's, of course, you understand, I will always support, but you always in that feeling like, yes, no, yes, no. And I don't like that feeling. I don't want that. I just want only yeses, but it doesn't happen. And look, you have to give the respect, of course. Man U is always that team. It doesn't matter what the club is going through, it will always be focused on. So now they're meeting each other. This is a big game. When at the bridge, you understand, I'm going to be at that game myself. But when you are there at that game, it's very important because both coaches are in a situation with, okay, Carrick, it was going well. And then you saw a little glimpses and stuff. Okay, Liam, what the thing is with Liam, what I feel, look, sometimes when you look at coaches, that's what I believe in. You can explain stuff, but don't explain too much. Because sometimes you explain too much and you're digging something and you're giving people things to talk about. Now I want him to talk a lot because I work on TV. But when I was a player, I don't want him to talk. I go, coach, don't talk so much. Leave a little bit, just let them know what they need to know, but the rest keep it in the group. And tell us what you think. But don't give that to the TV, because then they come after our weakest points. And I think sometimes he highlights too much. And the same thing what I say now, I said the same thing about Slot. Don't give too much. You guys give too much. You don't have to tell everybody, this is our weakest spot, this is where we're good at. No. Chill.
No, agree to disagree. We love that. Us in the media, we absolutely love it. You like it TV now. Come on, Mark.
No, that's why you like it. I give you both views. When I was playing, I don't want my coach to be, now I'm not playing anymore. Coach, keep going. So I like him now. You understand? Because I'm not playing anymore. But if I'm playing, coach, don't do this to me. Don't do that.
Chelsea are struggling a little bit at the moment.
Yeah.
We're going to take a look at their last 10 results there. The last win, the only win in the last 5, was against Aston Villa. And then I think back to the last 6 in all competitions, it was the win against Port Vale. They've been struggling.
And it's the reason why I can't call this particular fixture, because there's a really fascinating stat. In the top 5 European leagues, Chelsea have lost the most games since the start of March. They've lost 6 of their last 9. But then when you put them up against Manchester United, they've lost 2 of their last 4. The international break's been horrendous for their momentum. And they've only kept a clean sheet on 1 of their last 21 away games. So both teams can score, but neither side can defend particularly well. I think as far as Chelsea's defence is concerned, My big thing, and I'll only be very brief because I'm sitting next to someone infinitely more qualified.
I knew you were going to say that.
Nobody here takes responsibility, and that's the reason why they concede so many goals. And you'll see another example here. The ball is played out. Nobody knows how to take responsibility to cut it out. It's left to the goalkeeper to be exposed, and they score easily. And it's been a theme that has run throughout Chelsea's defensive campaign.
What do you put that down to? Is that too many changes, so there are no real partnerships? Is that age? What's your opinion?
I don't think it's on age. I think I will go more for disciplinary in the sense of like, if I make you play a lot of times together, it creates a better understanding. And changing, if you change one player, it's different than when you change two. Because if I change one, let's say I get 4 at the back, right, and I change my right defender, and I take him out, the other 3 know exactly what we were doing the week before.
I commit heresy and disagree with you and say, I think the reason is experience. There is, you said earlier in the show, when you have a Silva, right? But it's a Thiago Silva. In Liverpool's case, a Virgil van Dijk. A big player to tell players when to go, when to stay, when to commit, to read the game. They don't have that at the back. Yeah, because what you're saying is that the experienced players, you understand, rarely go to the ground. When you see a player makes a lot of tackles, that means because he's late. And players at late, I made quite a bit of tackles, but if I look at another player, I give an example. We're talking about defenders, Desailly. I don't think he even knew how to tackle. So you understand, the timing for him was always right, so he would guide us and tell us certain things. So that's why, I believe in experience, and I think every team needs that, but you also need, I'm telling you that, you need consistency in what you pick. So I give an example. If I have a bunch of games, like 10 games, now they won, they lost back-to-back, 3 games in a row. That's not good. We cannot make that cute. But I'm talking about, if you have like 10 games, in the 10 games, you have to make sure that you start the same defenders at least 8 times. But if you don't do that, you're going to get difficulty in the sense of, okay, where is the trust? A defender needs as much trust as a striker, because a striker needs confidence in scoring goals. We need confidence in making sure we don't concede.
Yeah. I want to move the conversation on to Manchester United and one...
deflections and whatever else, but I think as far as Manchester United are concerned, they could have lost by more had Leeds been able to finish. If they're switched on for this game, and their attack does what I expect their attack to do, I think Chelsea will go AWOL again.
It also tells you the importance, doesn't it, of momentum? Because Manchester United's last game was 23 days.
This is what I mean about the international break.
Yeah, and
really
they had an even longer
momentum.
one because they weren't in the FA Cup and all of that. That tells us everything we need to know. When we always ask, are players more rested or is momentum a bigger thing?
Momentum is very important because I think also you're used to playing, like twice a week, right? Especially when you're at a big club. You're used to playing like at least, the midweek and then in the weekend. When that kind of get, okay, maybe you're not in the European situation, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes I had with coaches, they put in a game and it's not like as intense, but they create a certain game for you, Even the reserves will come in, to make up a game. And even if you don't play the game for like 90 minutes, but you play it twice 25 minutes, just to give us the feeling like we are in a game. And if that doesn't happen, it's very difficult. I'm telling you, like sometimes the feeling of knowing to compete is very, very important. I know people will say, like, it doesn't matter, because, you earn this or you do that. No, we want to make sure, like, we are built to compete. And when you stop us from competing, it's very difficult because it's almost like, we're getting hot and then you put us cold. And how long can we stay cold? That's not good. It's not good, I'm telling you.
I'm so confused now. Are we talking about the weather or about...
No, I'm just telling you, like, I gotta stay focused and keep me warm, keep me going. Why are you doing that to me? Come and tell me. Okay, the weather for you.
Sharon, I know you know...
Every week.
Sharon, well, don't worry. The Uber driver's coming next week. I know you know this number. We've got to go to a break quickly. I know you know the year. Last time Manchester United won at Stamford Bridge.
Oh, gosh. 2020?
Yeah, I knew you knew it. Yeah.
2020?
Okay.
You didn't think it was a red card on Monday, did you? The Martinez one?
No.
What?
I can see why he gave it, but this idea of violent conduct, it's harsh.
Yeah.
But if they'd done it to Keane was sent off at Everton a couple of months ago, and that was the same type of scenario, it kind of didn't really grab him, but he got a red card for it. So.
Yeah.
I thought he just slid his bobble off rather than pull his hair. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think when they call it violent conduct, that sounds a bit bizarre, doesn't it?
But I think it's just
when you pull somebody's hair, your hair goes back, doesn't it? That never happened, did it?
But I'm amazed after the game, United, everyone's angry about the sending off. What about, you should be angry with the performance.
The first half, especially.
Do you know what it is? Like a distraction to sending off. No, you were 2-0 down at the time.
Yeah.
Be angry with the first half, how you can turn up for a game so slowly.
And Michael concentrated on whether it's pressed in it.
Oh, of course. Obviously, it's like a distraction for everyone. We talk about the sending off.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I actually thought it was a sending off.
No, I can see why he sent him off, yeah, but I think this violent conduct seems a bit strange.
What do you think, Righty? Do you think it was a sending off? The question is, right, we know the rule says that you have to send them off, so, but do you,
It's not the rules, guys, it's the law.
Law, sorry. As a professional, though, I kept thinking about after the game, I kept thinking, do you know something? Like, you used to have long hair, like longish hair, remember, right? Rude had longish hair. I reckon if someone in training pulled their hair...
You'd be fuming, yeah.
I reckon they'd be on the floor inside 5 minutes.
It's the women's, isn't it? Same for the women's football.
The other day with Katie McCabe.
I saw that, yeah. And there was uproar because she wasn't sent off.
Yeah, but again, it was one. I think even with that one, it was she weren't sent off neither. And even with that one, she was pulling the shirt, but the hair's at the back there.
Yeah.
And then obviously she's caught the hair as well. But like it's page one. You don't pull hair. I mean,
have a grip of his shirt though a little bit as well, don't you think? And it felt like his shirt and his hair were together a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
I think that it should be instant sending off with the.
I think instant sending off. I was adamant it was a sending off.
Yeah. I wasn't disagreeing.
The Brobby. What about Brobby with Tottenham? That should have been a send off the way he pushed him into Romero.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is more. That is more so dangerous.
No, to be fair, some of the decisions you think like, but that one to me, I thought it was definitely. The other thing was strange. If you're pulling someone back as a defender, I played defence for 20 years and pulled and grabbed and. You never grab someone...
Not that high.
So if he's got... If Scholes, he's got like a skinhead like that, I'd say as an example, you don't grab someone's head.
No, you grab his...
I've never grabbed someone's head to pull them back, to go like this.
He's done that because of his size, isn't he? He's almost reaching like that.
No, if I'm playing...
He is tall,
if I'm playing against Duncan Ferguson, right, who's got longer hair back in the day...
you'd throw your hands up.
I'd go like that. I wouldn't go like that and grab his head like that.
It's a bad example. You don't do that to Duncan. He's just smash your face in.
I know, but the point is, I wouldn't... I thought it was sort of a strange thing to see. Liverpool... Yeah.
But it was a good distraction for United to talk about that after the game.
Yeah.
I see the manager getting angry. Go, no, get angry with the team. Yeah. Starting a game like that against Leeds. Oh my God! How can you start a game with no energy?
But just something, Roy. Look, you're going to say I'm making excuses. Now you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Right. There's two things. One, I do think when they've not played like one game in like 30 odd days.
But whose fault is that? That's their own fault for being so bad last year and being out of all the cup competitions.
I know, but
that's self-inflicted.
It wasn't 30 odd days.
No, it's 24 days without a game, but then they had a big period before...
Why did you say 30 odd?
No, but they had a big period...
It's no big score.
I said, what? So they had a big period before that where they didn't play for like 12 days or something, you know what I mean?
So can I ask you something? No, you know what's
better for rest, or
I think it was too far, right?
But what's intriguing here, we talk about constantly about how many games a player needs to play. He's not played for a month or two, he's played two. Same for teams. Leeds played last Sunday. West Ham, was it extra time, the whole shebang? So where do you ever go? That's perfect. You know, what's the perfect scenario for how many games you're going to be playing?
Yeah, but the second thing, Roy, I'm going to say...
But if you've not played... All right, what would we obviously say at Old Trafford before a game? Just say you haven't played for that long. Start quick.
Yeah.
At least start quick. If you start slowly, it's hard. It's hard to get going.
Well, I think there's two more things. One is I think they definitely probably looked at Chelsea on Sunday and thought we're OK here and a bit complacent. There's definitely a bit of that, which is wrong. The third thing was when you lose Maguire and Mainu, it just, to me, highlighted how weak it looked all of a sudden. With because you saw the team and you thought, oh, Gatti and Casemiro, there's going to be nothing through midfield. Yeah. You then see the centre-backs and you think, they're probably going to get... Calvert-Lewin's going to fancy that a little bit. So all of a sudden you're looking at it and thinking... But anyway, yeah...
It's strange enough to send it off. I think, obviously, United reacted well to it, Man United.
Yeah.
Leeds didn't know what to do with the extra man. They were all of a sudden taking too many touches.
They couldn't keep the ball.
The send-off affected them more than Man United. Leeds confused them.
I thought Michael took a bit long to change it, if I'm honest with you.
To be fair, at half-time I was amazed that there weren't one or two substitutions, to be fair.
You said on time that Bruno should have dropped back.
I thought Bruno should have dropped back into midfield with Agati going...
Yeah,
he had two right. But what they had two. They couldn't get all of the ball.
Why not? Well, the one thing I'd say, you're on about football. Do you know what you want to see with a team? And I'm on about Liverpool, PSG. The first thing I look for in a football match or a team is energy.
Yeah.
So you're on about United with all these... Of course you can have a... But you're home to Leeds on a Monday night. It was decent atmosphere. Yeah. At least play with energy. Yeah. Whatever about lack of quality. So if you've no energy, and I'm talking about every level of football. If I watch soccer, I go, I want to see him just running around. You got to run, Gary.
To be
It's
fair,
like Pep at
Leeds
half-time
got it
against
right,
Chelsea.
though, didn't
they?
The one thing you say about United, Man United against lads, at least start quick. At least start quick.
Leeds got it right and they played right into their hands, really. The keeper kept trying to play out. Tanaka.
But you know what Leeds were good at? Passing
right,
forward.
aggressive.
And you know what? Just getting crosses in.
Oh, they were aggressive.
Just putting crosses
But
in.
why don't people do it? Just keep crossing. No one wants crosses in all the time. No one wants to. Defender doesn't want to chase there. They don't want to get crosses. They don't want to defend crosses.
I thought Calvert-Lewin was really
He was a handful, wasn't he? I know he's short in other areas, Calvert-Lewin, but he was a handful.
He is a handful.
Back to the old days. He was even the first goal. He attacked it well,
He's a
didn't he?
handful.
He was brilliant, but showed why he's probably not at the
Of course. Oh, yeah, he's not.
So he should have finished the game for him, really.
Yeah, he had a couple of chances.
It's the same.
But he done well then defensively.
You know, it's the same. That chance is the one what he had with England. You know, they brought him in, so they just brought him to. You know, let me just have a final look and just see, and then that header. You're thinking, that's it.
Or the chance he slid in the first half.
Yeah, I was devastated.
But he bullied both centre-halves, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's good at that.
Game.
He's good at that. But
But like I said, he's amazing at that. But to get to that.
Yeah, because if you play like the World Cup and you're bullying people about, like, you're getting pulled up all the time. Well, I felt for him in that moment because, like, for him to get himself back to a stage where you get back into the England squad and then get that chance, which is, you know, it's a header for him. Honestly, I was gutted for him. Gutted for him.
And he missed that. He missed a good header against United,
Yeah. Header
I think
and
he's got to score that.
Yeah.
You know, I'd maybe forgive the other one where he slid in to keep him made a really good save, but the header.
Was the header the one where he sort of like
You said there was enough pace in it, but
it was a bit of
but
a
he
soft
done all of it
cross.
like this. Yeah, but it just.
Those are the
second
hardest
half
ones.
talk about.
The hardest
Yeah.
ones. I know he's a top player, but when you have to put something on it, then you.
He had to go like that, didn't he? One of them.
It was right in the corner, though. He's put in the corner. Down and low, though.
Score that. Come on.
Yeah. Well, you just throw your head at it, don't you? Boom. Full head.
He did throw his head at it. He did throw
No,
his head.
but do you know what? Do you know what, Riley? But I don't think he had to throw it that much at
He
it.
just needed.
He's done all the actions. Said, "No, just focus
Just
on
go
getting your-"
bang, bang.
It was
a
quite
little
a
bit
soft
soft.
cross, wasn't it?
I don't know.
It was.
It's a bit like Beto's goal for Everton against Brentford the weekend. That was a bit soft, but he put that in the corner.
He put it in the corner, yeah.
Anyway, Champions League last night, Liverpool.
One of your old players, Alan, Michael Carrick there. I mean,
fantastic player.
Yeah, it's one of those. I guess if he doesn't make the sub and it goes well, then everyone applauds him. If he doesn't as he did, then it goes wrong. Everyone's against him. What in that moment, not making that sub until the 70th minute, a lot of people, have gotten his back about it. Do you think he should have changed things earlier on?
I think game management is a big part of being a successful manager. I was with Steve Coppell actually yesterday, and we was talking about, because he was really good, Steve Coppell, at game management on the day. And some managers I've come across, you just know that they're really good at making decisions quickly. They'll take people off at half time, they'll take plenty of substitutions, etc. And usually they're really forthcoming managers. When I say like that, real personality driven, like Mourinho or something like that. Michael's not like that. He's much more kind of studious in the way he's going about his managerial career. And I think his substitutions will follow on with that. That would make sense. That's his personality. So I wouldn't criticise him for that. I think he's had a great start to Manchester United. I think he's done a lot of things really, really well. But it is Manchester United, and of course the media really centres on everything there. It's so big. So I think that criticism is a little bit harsh, if I'm honest.
I mean, it is one win in 4. Do you think that honeymoon period is over? And the only reason I ask that is I go back to what we were talking about with Liam Rosenior earlier, and you said it's about what a manager does when they're going through it.
Correct. That's on now, Michael. That he'll have sensed that in the press conference. He'll sense it in the dressing room. There'll be pressure, and that's when you need to be very consistent in your decision making. Because players, and Michael will tell you, we're always looking, for a weakness in the manager. Is he pampering to certain players, etc., etc. Got to be strong, and I think Michael has that, and I hope he gets through it.
Yeah. It's a hard tell with Michael because he's very level. He doesn't get too carried away. He's just very, very straightforward. You just see him. He's relaxed in situation. He'd be calm around the whole football club. I mean, he's done extremely well. It was a big call when they took him in. And I feel like, as a little bit different to Liam Rosenior that we were just discussing before, I feel like when he's stepped forward, he's already been there with Manchester United. He's had a little taste, he's had a look. the respect would be there a little bit quicker. Regards
knows
to
that touch
winning the
line,
players.
yeah.
Not just a touchline, the players already are going, right, he's been there right to the very top. You know, and what he brings. Just as he played as well, he was so calm. But he's got a little bit of fight as well. People don't see that side of him, and you have to have that as a manager. That's for certain. But he's, I think overall, we can't be too harsh on him.
No, listen. To be totally honest, I think he's done a brilliant job. And we had the opportunity to go out to Ireland to go and chat to him, and I think you can feel that the players respect him. You can feel that they like him. Do you think there is that chance there for him to carry on this job, or do you think the Man United board, they've already kind of said, no, this is an interim basis?
Well, Omar and Jason Wilcox obviously are running the day-to-day side of the football club, and they are no fools regards to planning, recruitment, the squad that needs to be improved, and is he one of those who could go on the journey with him? I think you've also got an ownership who sort of jump in and try and make some decisions, which I don't think it's always the way forward. It's their money, it's their finances, they can do it, but let the two people, that you've brought into the football club to go and try and improve it. I think that's the point.
If you rewind to when Amorim went to the situation, I was looking at Manchester United, no chance Champions League. I didn't think they had any chance of getting in there. And yet Mike would come in and got them cemented in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they look like they're going to, get that job done, and I think that'll be a hell of achievement. So it's a big tick from me in terms of that.
Does he take it on though? Do you say, well, you have to go and interview several other candidates, but is he?
Sure.
Do you say now when you look at knowing him, you've known him as a younger player, I know him a little bit later when I was at Spurs, and then different now. Has he got the tools? Do you see that in a managerial sort of focus, that you've got that experience?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've never seen him coach and work on a training ground because he was always a player for me, of course. But what I think he definitely has the intelligence and the level-headed, and the media. I think he's done particularly well in. He hasn't shied away from it. He's been up front, and I think he's done a great job. Whether he could get the job is obviously out of his control. But he's put himself in a great position to, if not to get the Man United job, to go and kick on again.
Definitely. Well, a bit of a weird stat, I know we'll go back to stats, but it's one that I want to pick your guys' brains on, is the fact that Man United in the first half of matches, right? Because this one shocked me a little bit. It's 1 goal in the last 7 games in the first half, right? So we look at some of these here. So 1 goal, 4 conceded. I mean, is there any thinking around this, Michael? Would you say, do they just need to... Is it they're not starting well, or is this game management, maybe?
It is one of those as well, and I think only the group will know. You know, when you talk about... Michael very much liked possession-based, with a little bit of build-up. Obviously, that's the way he played. He was calm. And so he'll want that, but he'll want some aggression at the top of the pitch. You've seen him come and react. He wanted to press quicker. He wanted to get up the pitch rather than sit in. So is the play gone back to a little bit slow, a little bit sort of safe? And I feel like teams are not afraid of Manchester United anymore.
Yeah,
I think that's the difference. So you say, well, okay, we'll come after you, but they do have to look at that. I think that's a given. But it's still transition. They've had so many injuries.
Yeah,
and I think that's something you've got to consider as well.
Alan, what would you say on that first half stat? If you were manager in there, would you be going, no, we've got to change this?
The media always throw up these stats now and again, and they grab a headline.
You're part of it, Alan. You're here.
Of course, I know, but that's what I'm saying. But as a manager, you can't react to them. But you have to understand that there are certain themes that are going on, and they're in the press. Yeah. So it'd be stupid not to, to talk about it or acknowledge it. Yeah. But they just pop up from the top.
Mindset, though? Do you know where now, like, we talk about stats, we talk about the attention, the questions, the fans seem to be more intelligent because of the data that's given. Yeah. You're under so much pressure, aren't you, to change what you believe is right?
Yeah, I would.
Did you have that much in yours?
No, because the social media and as you say, the kind of statisticians around the game, you'd have your internal statisticians and guys who are working, analysts, etc., etc. But the pressure of those numbers wouldn't be out there in the media being thrown at you all the time like they are now. Yeah. And so you can't run away from them. Unfortunately, Arsenal got some terrible stats at the moment.
It always comes back to that.
I'll just give you back.
Very good. Well, look.
Do you get the sense that players still believe they can qualify for the Champions League this season, and they'll be aware of a lot of the negative talk that's going on? Do Does it feel like it's affecting them?
Of course they still believe. Of course we still believe. I don't know why you would ask that question. I don't understand why you would.
Well, you've got a lot of young players in the team who have, the mentality of the team has been questioned at times, and it has been a particularly difficult run. You've seen that gap to the top 5 get bigger and bigger. I just wondered whether it was something that you're seeing, get through to the players.
No, I haven't seen that.
A lot of tension in that room at that moment. Questions being asked. But Carve, how much pressure is Liam Rosenior under?
Look, I think he's under as much pressure as any Chelsea manager would be when you've only won 2 Premier League games in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I thought what was really interesting is that Behdad Iqbali, who is the businessman who's effectively running Chelsea at the moment, he spoke yesterday in public. Very, very rare for him to speak in public, but you can see him there on the right.
Sure.
He was speaking at a sports business conference in Los Angeles, and when he was asked about Liam Rosenior's future, he said, look, he made a great start to life as a Chelsea head coach. Past 5 or 6 games have been tough. I think we're behind him. Now, people have focused on I think.
Yeah.
By saying I think, does that mean that he's not fully convinced by Liam Rosenior? Well, look, the information I have is that the Chelsea ownership are 100% behind Liam Rosenior. Having said that, it's a results business.
Yeah.
But the information I'm getting is that unless Chelsea lose their next 7 games, 3-4-0, then Liam Rosenior will still be the head coach next season.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because, I mean, how much is on this Champions League qualification? I mean, they surely, a club like Chelsea, they cannot afford to miss out on that.
I mean, look, if they don't qualify for the Champions League, I think it would cost them between 80 and 100 million pounds.
Wow.
They've made 80 million pounds from playing in the Champions League this season. And when you look at their finances, compared to their big rivals, the other teams in the so-called Big Six, their revenue has fallen behind clubs like Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City. If you look at it, their revenue is 491 million. City, Arsenal, Liverpool, all around 700 million pounds. So they're making around 200 million pounds a season less than those clubs. But look at their squad cost. They're spending more on players than all their rivals. And if they don't get in the Champions League, those figures are going to look even worse. And of course, just a few days ago, their holding company released their accounts and they made a loss of around 630 million pounds last year. So it is absolutely crucial to get in the Champions League.
This is the thing, right? They bought all this array of talent, but the balance, it's like, to be fair to Liam Rosenior coming in, could he have done better? He had a good start, as we've said. He's still learning. But the balance of the squad to be able to deliver right at the top of the Premier League is not there. So I think that's the model has also got to change. Why are you asking him difficult questions?
I wasn't there, actually. I wasn't there.
Like you.
But they're addressing that as well. I think the Chelsea ownership are holding their hands up and saying, look, we haven't got everything right. I think one thing they would admit is that when it comes to recruitment, they need to sign more experienced players. And that's something they're looking at doing this summer. They've said on the record that they will try and sign ready-made Premier League players.
It's something I had an interview with Liam, a couple of months ago, and I remember I asked him that quite directly about, is it lacking that experience? And his words were, wait for this summer. Wait for this summer to see what we're going to do. But Alan, on his tenure so far, so in the last 6 for Chelsea in all competitions, they've lost 5, right? Well, sorry, they haven't won in 5. Do you think, though, Liam deserves more time?
Well, it's difficult to answer that because you deserve time as a football manager in the Premier League. You don't get any time, particularly a big club like Chelsea. The model for me looks wrong. It looks like it needs to be rejigged. There's American sport coming here, putting loads of funds into young players, trying to build like a squad that's going to have value, and if they're not successful, still have value when you sell them on. And that's really what they've tried to do. Now it sounds like they're going to rejig and bring some senior players in. Well, I could have told them that 4 years ago when he first arrived. You're going to need some senior players if you want to win the title and you want to get into Champions League. And those figures are significant. 80 to 100 million less than those big clubs is big money. So, you know, he will live and die by that dressing room. He needs those players, you know, to support him and get him the results.
Yeah.
And, you know, that decision with Enzo, where he's left him out for 2 games over that disciplinary feature, I don't think it's going to do him any favours in the dressing room.
Yeah, Michael, would you say it's the players that he just needs to, you know, and obviously he's got that pressure from the board, but it's having those players backing that is so important to him. And do you think he's got that?
Well, I think they'll have been a little bit cautious when he first came in, saying what we're going to expect. And has he got the tools? Has he got the bravery? And I think whoever's known him, I've known him since he came in the door at Fulham, when I was with him there, with a lot of media stuff. He's not afraid of the camera, he's not afraid of answering the questions. But when you get onto that training ground, how do you deliver the sessions that are going to give you the tools? And you know he's quite creative, he's happy to change, he's happy to have different outcomes, but then to convince the players. So it's in your meetings, it's in how you one-to-one. And I think what hasn't helped him is 2 of the main players have come out publicly, which is a real mess. And I feel like they should know better on that situation. That doesn't look good because he's a young manager. They're almost throwing the question marks out there.
Yeah.
And as a football club, they've had to react, whether it was his decision or somebody else's, to punish these players. And but they've also not performed. You can talk about managers, we talk about systems, set up and squad. A lot of them have underperformed this season.
How much of a, obviously you knew him at your time at Fulham, have you seen much of a change in him, or was this the same person you saw, you know, when he first came in? He said, I've always been obsessed with tactics and being a manager.
Do you know what's funny? And I've said it before, and I say it to him. There was a few of us a bit more senior players at Fulham. We called him Shyness. Do you know, like, as soon as he walked in, it's like he's questioning everything. He's like, all right, Shyness. That was his name. We still call him that. Saying he came up to me only recently, actually, when he got the job. He said, Shyness. He said, I congratulated him. What a wonderful job. How he went off and tested himself in another country. I think that's really good for a young up and coming coach, and to be in the situation. And a lot of people have said, right, when he's asked all these questions, does he really need to do as much media? Does he need to be open and honest? But what he's tried to do is deliver it and give everybody the answer, as if to say, I'm not afraid of the situation. I'm not going to stay quiet.
Yeah.
And some of the things probably he would have gone, I maybe would have done that slightly different.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to open up, and after a good start, he's now started to find a tough situation. But he's a fighter. He won't be giving in, I'll tell you that, because other people will say, well, he looks a bit edgy. And to be fair, the question that he's asked there is to say, do the players not believe they can get... I don't think if anyone knows the talented young players, they'll all believe that they can go and win and do well in a game.
You know that competition you had earlier, we had those 5 managers in there?
Yeah.
Right. They could all be managers if you're winning. That's the easy bit. Yeah. It's when you're losing, when you've got to change things and you've got to take the team with you. That's when the crux comes, and that's what he's under now. That's what he's finding out at a big club.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Carve as well on that transfer policy that you know, we were talking about bringing in those experienced players. When I guess Chelsea, they look at it at the players that they have signed. What do you think their view is, obviously, on someone like Garnacho or a Gittins or a Delap as well, that hasn't necessarily worked? João Pedro, on the other hand, really producing recently.
Yeah, I think, you know, a lot of Chelsea fans look at last summer as a missed opportunity in the transfer market. They feel that, you know, under Enzo Maresca, Chelsea got back in the Champions League, they won the Conference League, they won the Club World Cup. That was the time to really make a big statement in the transfer market and push on and really challenge for the title this season. And that simply hasn't happened. And I think, even though Chelsea want to buy ready-made players this summer, it's going to be more complicated than it sounds, because you can't just go out and buy these players, especially if you're not in the Champions League.
Well, the team's competing to get them as well.
Exactly.
These top players,
So,
there's
you know,
so many you feel like it's open.
The kind of players Chelsea needed were Mark Guéhi and Antoine Semenyo. But those players, if you give them a choice...
They sold Guéhi when he was a young boy.
Exactly. And now...
Terrible errors in the past with young players.
Declan Rice, another one.
Of course.
But now, if you give those players a choice of where to go, Chelsea or Man City, they're going to choose Man City.
Yeah, that's why the Champions League qualification for Chelsea is going to be so important on a number of levels, not just the funds coming in, but players who want to go there.
Yeah.
If you're in that sphere of, you know, got clubs in Champions League, then you're going to go to the team who's in Champions League.